One of the finest lawnmowers ever made, the ATCO Royale. This is the B20 model, 20-inch cut. No better way to do gardening than driving one of these, sipping a cold one. And today's libation is Carlsberg. Pretty apt for what is probably the best lawnmower in the world. I bought this new in 1999. It's never missed a beat. Had the blades sharpened a couple of times, but other than that, the maintenance has been changing the oil and adjusting the cutter. There was a time when you could call on an army of dedicated ATCO engineers to do maintenance and repairs. But if you want to do your own maintenance, the manuals tell you how to do most things. But in case you've misplaced the manual or you've acquired a second-hand model, I'll run through how it's done. I did say manuals, plural, as later models, such as this one, use third-party engines. In this case, a Briggs & Stratton 6.5 horsepower engine. And it came with its own manual in addition to the ATCO's. So let's start with the oil change. You've got to warm up your engine. Five minutes should do it. And then use something, maybe a pair of pliers, or in this case, an Allen key, to engage in the lugs of the oil filler cap to remove it. Now, if you've got the full kit with your lawnmower, you should have received one of these. It's an oil drain plug with a piece of hose attached to it. If you don't have one of these, then it's easy to fabricate one. Okay, one is a piece of hose. It kind of fits the bill, a bit loose. So I'll get a piece of masking tape and wrap it around the end and just pad it out a little bit until it's the required thickness to plug the hole. That's a pretty snug fit, and frankly it's a lot better to use a piece of hose than this thing here. It's not long enough, and as you tilt the engine back to get rid of the oil, this thing just spews oil all over the foot plate here, the brake plate. Get yourself a container to drain the oil into, and as you tilt it back, you'll notice the hose sitting right above the brake plate. So try and move that to the left, and the oil should start to drain. Just tilt it all the way back, and now's a good time to remove the oil filler cap to let the air in. Remove the drain hose that you've used. Replace the filler cap. Sorry, not filler cap, the oil drain cap. Now the manual stipulates for this engine is SAE 30 oil, so get some SAE 30 oil, 600 millilitres, which the manual says is 5/8 of a US quart. Use a funnel if you don't have a pouring spout. Let the oil settle for about 5 minutes and then check the levels on the dipstick and make sure it's between the two marks. That's the oil done. Let's move on to adjusting the cutter blade. Now the blade should be rubbing against the fixed blade at the bottom, making a kind of scraping noise. It isn't, it's turning fairly freely. This blade, as you can probably see, is shot, but at 300 quid for a new cassette, I think I'll hang on to it for a few more years yet. Now to adjust the blade, you have to slacken these two bolts on either side. I think in some copies of the manual the instructions are actually wrong. I think they say you should tighten this one in to adjust the blade. It's actually this one here that you need to use to tighten the blade. So slacken all four off and then tighten this one in until you get a bite across the whole width of the blade. you're going to need an 11mm socket to adjust all 4 bolts. I pop the camera on the ground so hopefully you can see as I turn the bottom bolt in, it starts to lower the blade against the cutting blade. That's the cylinder blade against the cutting blade. Seems about right on that side. It's just scraping, maybe a little bit more. No, it won't move. Oh, it is, it's moving. Just finish up the other side. And right across the width of the blade. Yep, that's scraping now nicely. Where it isn't scraping, it's where the blade is bent, but that's probably the best I'll get on this cassette. And if you found that useful, hope you can find your way to give me a thumbs up.